Hello there, and welcome to Heavenly Album Covers. Here we are in the Heavenly Automobile, and I'm about to go in the gym to work out. I used to go in a place called 24-Hour Fitness, but I switched about a month ago to a place called 22-Hour Fitness because the exercises go a little bit faster. So these are some thrift store finds that I found within the last month or so. In all my time of going to thrift stores, I've only had about 2 separate interesting experiences at thrift stores. The first one was in a thrift store, a Salvation Army in Downey, California. I had picked up a Jimi Hendrix In the West album, and I was holding it, and this woman, she was an employee, she walked up to me and she said, hey, you've got a Jimi Hendrix album. My son is Bobby Cochran. He plays with Bob Weir in a band called Bobby and the Midnights, and my nephew was Eddie Cochran, the famous rock star, and he used to rehearse in my garage. And we chatted for a while, and it was very interesting. And only much later did I realize it was a pretty neat thing to run into and to talk to that lady. A little bit later in Compton, California, at a independent thrift store, I picked up a John Renbourn album. I think he was or is a folk guitar player, maybe. And I had this album. This guy walked up behind me and he said, hey, you've got a John Renbourn album there. I really like him. And then he said, my name is Eddie Detroit, and I played drums with the Mamas and the Papas at the Monterey Pop Festival. And I didn't know whether he was kidding or what, or who he actually was, but we chatted for about 10 seconds and I walked off. And later I found out that he probably was Eddie Detroit, who turns out was a kind of a cult artist. He put out a few psychedelic albums. I don't think he's with us anymore. But anyway, let's go on to what I found at a thrift store recently. The first thing is a Yogi Berra signed book. Yogi Berra was a really well-known manager. I think he was a player early on. And this is his little book of quotes and funny things. And there's Yogi Berra's signature right there in blue pen. I'm going to hang on to this for a while. It's kind of fun. I like baseball. And so we'll see what happens with that book. But it was fun to find that. I've never owned any Jerry Lee Lewis albums. So I found 2 in a series, Volume 1 and Volume 2. They're called the Hall of Fame Hits by Jerry Lee Lewis Sings the Country Music. And I like it because they're, the covers look like they were taken at the same time in the same location with Jerry Lee's same clothing on. He kind of switched his jacket up here, but there's Volume 2 there. And Jerry Lee looks very relaxed and able to play music. And there's Volume 2. You can see he's wearing the same clothing. And there's a close-up of Jerry Lee Lewis, one of rock's greatest heroes and musicians. And so these are going to be fun. I've never owned any Jerry Lee Lewis albums. And finally, here's Teresa Brewer. And I've seen this album for years, and it just dawned on me the other day when I was in the thrift store that the cover is pretty out there. It's very extreme. The photo is amazing, really. And the album is called Time for Teresa, and it's on Coral Records. There's nothing really on the back. That might be her down here, some other albums by her. And but she was huge. She sang up until like the last few years of her life. She changed with the trends, and she sang her heart out. Her big hit was called Music, Music, Music. And I just like this photo. It's life size. And she just looks like she's kind of staring out into nothingness. And those are some albums from the thrift store.